with Smitty's Fly Box. Today we're going to tie a cool little streamer pattern jig style called the Gulpin. This comes from my buddy Court. Pretty simple little jig thing, but I've seen him catch a lot of fish with that, especially this high water. It's got that 4.5 millimeter tungsten bead. We're using a Mustad barbless jig hook. So let's just dive right in. I've got 6/0 thread. We're just going to attach our thread there just behind the bead and lay down a pretty good layer of thread. And I'm going to put a little thread base right up under the bead, build a little bulk right there, and then we'll come back here to the back. All right, first thing we're going to tie in is some straggle hackle in olive. This gives this fly a lot of movement, little flash. So I use this a lot on our streamer patterns. So I'm just tying that in by the cord there, oops. And then I'll just take my thread to just behind the bead, and then we'll just carefully wrap this over the top away from us as we work our way forward. I'm not gonna get too hung up on how pretty it is. Just going to give us some nice mass there and get some of those fibers flowing back. And once I get there to the eye of the hook, I'm just going to hold that straight up, or excuse me, to the bead, hold that straight up in the air. We'll drop our thread over and just tie that off, secure that off. Now we can clip off that excess, and I'm just going to pull everything back and just make a few good turns right there and just make sure that bead's seated in there good, like that. Now we'll just flip this over, rotate it, and I've got some barred rabbit strips here from Hairline, and I've just got a strip. I want to make sure I want about the hook of the length of the hook shank out the back there. So if I measure that leather part there, that's where the tail's going to be, about right in there. I'm just going to kind of mark that right there, and then I can poke that through. And let's just slide that out of the, poke that all the way through, and then I can remount it back in my vise like that. And now we can just ready to tie that in right there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure right there. Let's just pinch that and just part some of that hair back right in place right there, and then I can tie that in right behind the bead. Let's come in here and snip off that excess. All right, notice I've got just a little kind of collar that I'm working right there. And last thing I'm gonna do is just add some dubbing. So we're just gonna use some ice dub here to just build a little collar. When I dub this on there, I'm going to dub it fairly loose. I want to kind of comb everything back, so I'm just going to leave some little loose ends on there like that, and then I can just bring a collar right up in there like that. And now let's just whip finish right there, and then we can drop some glue in there, some head cement along that head right there, like that. All right, one last thing we can do here just to kind of bug this up a little bit. Let's just take our, like a brush, and just, I like to just brush out some of that dubbing and everything and get some of that moving out there like that. And what we have is a pretty simple little streamer that's going to bob around, move around, and it gets down real quick. So just drop it in any of those little pockets, especially in this high water that we have right now. It works really well. So hope you enjoy that. Check out the link for all of the materials on our website to tie that fly.